with live. Please put something in the chat box so that we know we are live. Okay, hello guys, hi everyone, good evening and welcome to One Step Closer League first ever YouTube live streaming session. This is Vivekanand here. I am joined along with Ms. Vatsala Subramaniam, who is the founder and chief executive officer of Vatsala Tourism Academy. Ma'am, thank you very much. Thank you for joining the session today.
Thank you, Vivek. It's my pleasure to join this program and to share my experience.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So to talk about ma'am is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Vatsala Tourism Academy. She has close to 27 years of experience in the field of travel and tourism industry. Before she started her career with Shibi Travels as a travel executive, and before starting Vatsala Tourism Academy, she held a position of Chief Operating Officer with Madura Travels. She started the Vatsala Tourism Academy in the year 2018, and right now it's been going on 3 years and a half, and is there. So to talk about the academy, it's been featured as one of the top 10 training and tourism institutes in the country by higher education experts. And ma'am is also featured in several South Indian media channels with her in Sun News and Kalinga News and a lot of other various South Indian news channels. She's also a various destination certified expert in several other countries. Ma'am, before going on to the session, it would be nice if you can give a little brief about yourself.
Thank you once again, Vivek. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. So as Vivek had mentioned, I have about 27 years of experience in the travel industry. So my heart is very close to the industry. Having worked with various organizations, right from travel agency, tour operator, GDS, timeshare company, and airline offices, etc., and have held various positions and designations and worked in different profiles, have been in sales and operations, have met corporate clients, individuals, have traveled extensively within India and abroad. So the travel industry is very, very close to my heart. And I have great friends in the entire industry. Have been part of Travel Agents Association of India, Travel Agents Federation of India, SCOL India. So there is a whole lot of travel bodies that I've been closely associated with and held various positions in these forums as well. And this industry has given a great amount of exposure, great amount of networking opportunities, where I have met people from across all segments and have traveled with them on this MICE movement for conferencing, for incentive groups, meetings, etc. So with this vast experience for over 25 years, I thought as a Thanksgiving, I need to give back to this fraternity. I thought I should start this academy, Vatsala Tourism Academy. So which is also another passion, training and imparting knowledge, all that experience that I have gained over so many years, and to bring in that kind of competent people into the industry, build in that kind of quality from the young, aspirants who would like to step into the industry. So that's something which I love. So I have also been doing a lot of guest lectures in most of the colleges and have been doing certificate courses for the college students and also to the industry. I've been taking trainings for specialized courses on a specific topic, and also training the middle management on operational excellence, setting the budget, targets, strategies, KRAs, various analysis and metrics, etc. So I've been thoroughly enjoying. And yeah, now in the last couple of years, thanks to COVID, I have moved to online platform. And yeah, my training continues. And so far, so good. My journey thus far has been very, very heartening. And I'm very thankful that this industry has given me a whole world's opportunity to travel across the world and know so many people and get acquainted with industry experts, etc. So that's a very brief history about myself.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So, ma'am, moving on with the actual part of the session. So, when we speak about entrepreneur and entrepreneurship as such, so how did the idea of building this startup? So, how did it come to your mind? You are in the travel industry for almost 20 plus years, more than 2 decades. So, where did the idea of having a startup, or as you told, you're a training and placement specialist. So, where did the idea spark up for Vatsala Tourism Academy?
Okay. After having worked in any segment, anybody would like to, after having worked for 2 decades, people always have this idea of starting something on their own because they have gained enough amount of knowledge and experience. So people would like to start something on their own. So what happens is, when I was in the travel industry, having gained this experience across the travel agency, airline, tour operator, GDS, timeshare company, etc. I found that when I was hiring people, when I moved into middle management and senior management level, when I started hiring young talents, I found that there was a dearth of quality. There was a major gap between what was expected and what these kids were delivering. So I found that they did not have adequate knowledge or exposure about the travel industry. So they just wanted to get into some job. So they were coming into any of these organizations, a travel agency or a tour operator or an airline, and they come with the concept of, okay, we will go there and we will be trained and we can pick up. But that's not what the organizations expect. The organizations expect that at least they have some basic knowledge about the industry. So when they come in, then they can be trained or specialized into a certain profile or certain position. So I realized that after about 15, 20 years, that I was not able to get the right kind of people. So that's the thing that sparked, and I said that I have to build in that kind of quality people in the industry. And to meet this dearth of quality, I thought I should start this academy and target the right kind of people. Thankfully, today most of the colleges have travel and tourism as one of the subject. And but of course, it is still more theoretical. It is book knowledge that they learn in the UG or PG. So I thought I could do a finishing school kind of a certification course where I can train them from a practical point of view. Having worked in various organizations in various positions, right from a junior level right up to CEO, COO, I would definitely know what is the expectation both from a customer point of view and from a management point of view. So I was able to address that point. And when the kids are trained and when they get into an organization, they are able to relate as to what was trained, and they are able to immediately pick up and do well. So all those students, over 1,000 students that I have trained so far, and most of them are placed in various organizations, I do get feedback both from the students and from the management that these kids are doing really well. And there are about a whole lot of bunch of them who have started on their own. After about 2 3 years, they've gained so much of confidence and experience that they have started travel companies on their own. They have become entrepreneurs and they have become owners of their own organizations. So it's really good to see that these kind of students have really done well. To just to one is of course to meet the dearth of quality, and secondly, as I said, as a thanksgiving. So I wanted to give it back to the industry. So I just love to share my experience, my knowledge, my mistakes, etc., and train the industry and train the youngsters who would like to set foot into the travel industry. So that's the idea that came up to get into this Vatsala Tourism Academy.
Great, ma'am. That's such a great inspiration for all of us. So, ma'am, so my next question is based on this only. So, when you tell that after having a lot of experience, you have come into the field. I'll quote me as an example here. So, I started the entrepreneurship, with almost a year and a half of experience. And a lot of people start, especially after completing their college, they try to start their own business. But unfortunately, a lot of the business statistics reveal close to half of them stop within the year. The business is not booming out or the business drops. Why do you think this business drops, and what can be done as a motivational factor as an entrepreneur? What
Okay, towards the end, I could not hear you. I guess you're talking about the current situation, the COVID situation, right? Yes. Well, COVID has completely turned the world upside down, regardless of what industry, what segment you are in. The entire world is going through this turmoil, and almost all the business have come to a standstill. So, travel industry is the first one to be hit because the airports were first shut. Because people traveling from one border to another border were supposedly the ones who were the carriers. So they first stopped and blocked all the borders and shut all the operations at the airports. But fortunately, the airlines are the ones who started again soon after the lockdown, soon after the lockdown restrictions were removed. It were the airports that were open, and even during intense lockdown, the airports were still functioning. The cargo flights were operating. Certain commercial flights like the Vande Bharat mission and air bubble flights were still operational. But what happened with the travel industry, with the travel agencies and tour operators? Yes, they had a major, major setback. They had a major loss that they had to face because nobody was traveling, nobody was booking tickets with them, nobody was giving them business. Now, the small timers who were like, standalone companies who had a very minimum staff strength were still able to manage because they never had huge overheads. So they were still able to manage. They just asked the staff to, go on a sabbatical and said, we will come back once we resume. You all can come back. But the bigger companies, surprisingly, the bigger companies, I may not be able to take the names here, MNCs and multi city companies who have offices across all the metros and mini metros, they were affected the most. All the more because they had huge overheads. They had invested hugely and they had offices all over. They had employees from anywhere from 200 to 2,000 employees across India, and their expenses were so much more. So when the business comes to a standstill, obviously they will not be able to meet these kind of huge overheads. It was very sad to see companies which were here for decades, 30 years, 40 years, had to shut shop. That was a very sad part. And I've personally seen most of the organizations moving, and the organizations owners and management moving into other businesses related to COVID, selling sanitizers and PPE kits, and of course for the corporate segment, not the B2B, but to the bigger corporates. But still, it was a new business for them to pick up and struggle and to make some money and to make their meet their ends. It was really tough and very sad to see the state. Yes, some companies have gone through a very, very bad phase, and yeah, it's going to take at least another 2 years for them to revive and come back. But the feel good factor, the flip side is the travel business. It's not the end of the travel business. Everybody sitting at home today just wants to get out. I have the entire friends circle that I have, the contacts that I have. Everybody has been calling me and asking me, what are the international borders that are open? Where can we travel now, within India or abroad? Let us know, when can we travel? You want us to take vaccine? We will go take vaccine. You want us to take RT-PCR negative test? We will do that. So people are sick and tired of sitting at home for more than 1 year, looking at the same faces and, within the four walls of the house. So everybody wants to go out. So the youngsters particularly, they want to even take the risk of traveling regardless of whether there is COVID in any country or not. If Maldives is open, let's go to Maldives. If Sri Lanka is open, let's go to Sri Lanka. So the travel business is going to come back. It is going to bounce back. Maybe at the most by end of the year, it is going to come back in multifold, and people are waiting to travel. I'm sure you must have heard the news yesterday at Himachal when they opened it. The tunnel to Shimla was packed, flooded. That was crazy, of course. 7,000 plus vehicle that completely choked the tunnel. And we also hear that there were a lot of positive cases that were recorded. That's sad state. I mean, people should not have that kind of mad rush. But once it opens and all the borders open, I'm sure this industry is going to come back. People will, and it'll take about a year or two for them to revive the business. So this is in general. Particularly for me, what has happened is, as I said, training, I definitely love the classroom training. There you get the opportunity to talk to each other. It becomes more interactive. I see their facial expressions. I can understand their body language, how much they have understood, how much they have grasped, etc. But I have now moved to online training. Of course, it is not as interesting for both, for the students and for me when you're doing an online training. But what I'm trying to say is my business continues. My training continues. It is not stopped. So I still have college students coming to me. I'm doing classes for them. There are individuals who are interested who would like to get into the industry. But everybody asks this question: is the travel industry going to revive? Because we are doing all this training. What if we don't get a job? So I said, just have patience. It's not the end of the world. It's just a matter of few more months, and the business is going to come back, and you all will get a job. And especially post COVID, since most of the offices have shut and people have been asked to go home, they are looking for freshers and entry level staff. So people who have been trained now, they will definitely get a job. I mean, they have to have the passion, the involvement, and a little bit of patience for them. And once they get back, I'm sure most of the organizations are waiting to hire these young talent who are far more tech savvy and open to the new technology and the new protocol of travel.
Completely, ma'am. I completely agree with you on 2 points. Number one being that when people want to go out, I'm an indoor cat myself. I am right now. It's like, why can't I go 2 days without having the COVID and all of that stuff going on in that?
Yeah, I'm also waiting.
About And the second part about the job. So whenever the jobs is like right now, the people who are just about to complete their college, all of them have in their mind is, what if I don't get a job? What if I don't get a job because of the economic meltdown or the situation or the financial crisis or the joblessness? How do I end up? So as a reason for this, a lot of people either go try to higher studies or would like to take a break or would like to become an entrepreneur, like an example sitting right in front of you. Now, this is one question I want to ask you. Before starting this, you are an employee. Though you are in a leadership position, the higher level employee, once you started with entrepreneurship, you have become an employer. So apart from being a teacher, you are also an employer. You run a number of people work under you, and then you run a business. How did the transition feel, ma'am? Like, how did the transition feel?
Amazing. It was amazing because the grass is always greener at the other side. So when I was an employee, at a junior level, I always used to, wonder, wow, how I wish I was the boss. So the bosses walk in at any time, they go out at any time. They are happily living in bungalows. They have luxuries. They travel in luxury cars. They are dining out and have partying every weekend, and they don't have any responsibilities, they don't have any workload, and here I am sitting and slogging. I'm not able to eat on time, and I'm sitting late, and I'm stretching and bending backwards to meet all the service requirement of the clients. So yeah, I used to feel that way, and I used to wish how I was one of these bosses, so that I can just happily go around. Yeah, that phase was also there where I have experienced it. But then as you grow, as I came to the middle management and to the senior management, I realized my shoulders have become very heavy. There's a lot more responsibilities that you need to shoulder. So it is not that easy to become a boss or an employer. So you have so much more responsibilities. You have sleepless nights. Besides ensuring that the business runs and you are able to meet your P&L and your budget and your strategy and your marketing, etc., you have to ensure that your team is paid on time, all your overheads are met. So that's a huge responsibility. Regardless of whether you make money, you make profit or not, you have to meet your overheads. So yes, then I realized that the bosses, the employers, have sleepless nights, and it is not easy to become an employer. You have huge amount of responsibilities. You are accountable for the entire lot, for the entire business. Yeah. So, but the flip side is, while there is so much of responsibility that you need to shoulder, there is another thing which is very heartening and very good, is that you are able to motivate. You have to be in a position where you lead by example. You are able to inspire your entire team and motivate the team. So that, I think, I have been able to do. Thankfully, I have not had a organization where I had huge overheads and had a huge number of people under me. So I was able to manage. But I've had teams wherever I have worked as a manager, as a in the senior management level, CEO, wherever. I've had a huge team where I have been able to motivate them, inspire them, and lead by example. So I'm sure my team will vouch for them. And now, after having moved to this, training, yeah, I'm able to impart my knowledge as well, and also share my experience, my mistakes, others' experience that I have gained. So I find that the entire team looks up to me now. So and yeah, you have to be a mentor to your juniors. So I still have people who I had trained 3 years back, 5 years back, people who had worked with me 5 years back or 10 years back, call upon me, call and check on various things, and they still take my advice, take my suggestion. So that's a very heartening feel. And I guess I have done justice to my role wherever I have been, in whatever position.
True, ma'am. True. I completely agree with you. And ma'am, I have I have one more question, and then we are going for the live questions if there are any for you.
Sure.
So the last question. So, ma'am, in these days, having a startup, as I mentioned earlier, even younger people are getting into this entrepreneurship. The government has schemes helping people to start the business at a very young age. At this
Right.
point, do you that a new idea should be launched in the market apart from whatever is existing, and should a newer idea will be becoming more famous, or an existing idea, I mean in the existing market, a different one, I wanted an updated version or an updated help updated version or a newer model of the existing version, will they work good, or something out of the box ideas will be booming more in the entrepreneur scale?
It's a wonderful question. Any day, people want something different, something new. So I had a wonderful boss who used to say that, if you continue doing the same thing, you will continue to get the same results. If you are expecting a different result or a better result, you need to do something differently or better. So, as they say, nothing is permanent. Change is the only permanent factor. So you have to be open to change. You have to adapt and accept the new technologies and methodologies that come up, and you have to come up with innovative and creative ideas in whatever you do. So if you continue to do what you have been doing, you will continue to get the same results. So in any segment, in any area, you have to be innovative. You have to keep creating, because something that you feel is luxury or new becomes the new normal. After a while, it becomes the normal. So there has to be something different that you are trying. Even in our training, in my training, we come up with something different to keep the interest level of the students. So whatever we do, it has to evoke the interest, evoke the curiosity in the minds of the your audience or your target customer, whomsoever it is. So we have to do something different, something new, which is why with technology you have whole lot of stuff that you can do. So whether it is a simple itinerary or a simple ticket, so we always endeavor and try to do something different, make it very attractive, make it very creative, make it user friendly, or whatever we are coming up with. We have to try something different, something new every time. The run of the mill is not going to continue forever. We have to think out of the box. I think the young kids, the young talent that comes these days have a whole lot of newer ideas, and they want to explore niche destination, come up with new ideas, new itineraries, add value to whatever the customers are paying. So I'm sure these kind of innovative, creative ideas and adapting to this kind of change is definitely going to yield a better result, and definitely you are going to continue being the business. If you continue doing what you have been doing, you become redundant and obsolete after a while. So unless you try out something new, come out with something creative or innovative, you will continue to stay in the business. So yes, that is very, very important, to be open to change and adapt the new technology, new methodologies whatsoever, and ensure that you are able to sustain and continue in the business and make profit and increase and grow your own business. That's important.
That's a great point, ma'am, because I believe the one of the redundant factors is that a lot of people needs to move along the pace how the global moves. We have to also
Absolutely.
upgrade.
Absolutely.
Ma'am,
Upgrade themselves. Yep.
before moving on to the live question, which will be coming in, I have one more question. So this is a very interesting question to all the young viewers.
Yeah.
Ma'am, personally speaking, when it comes to travel and tourism industry, all I feel like a lot of my friends have told, you get to travel a lot, you get to go to a lot of new places, then you go to move across. You have to tell me, you have to break the ice for me right now. Leave COVID situation out of the picture. Apart from that, in general times, is the travel industry and tourism expert, does he get to travel a lot with the company paid expenses?
Oh yeah. In fact, out of the all the travel that I have done, I should admit that more than 75% is company paid. you know uh, at a junior level, if you're doing really well, we have something called fam trips are familiarization trips, where the airline or the tour operator, the land, what we call the DMCs, the destination management company, would like to take you to their destination, or allow you to look at their flight. They take you free of cost to various destinations. It could be within India or abroad. So that's one thing which everybody gets an opportunity. And as you grow, based on the productivity of the particular organization, there are these kind of, based on your business that you have given to a particular airline or to a particular destination, they'll again take you on another similar trip, and as an award function. So they will take you to various destinations, and then you have conferences and meetings, and we ensure that these conferences and meetings are held in some international destination. And there are various corporates which have these kind of what we call the MICE movement, meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibitions. So we are the ones who go and talk to the people who are the deciding authorities, and tell them that a Bali will be much more cheaper than Delhi. Why don't you go to Thailand? It is much cheaper than going to Kerala. So even if they have decided a destination which is very close to our area, we try to convince them and negotiate and try to tell them that we will work out on the same budget, an international destination, and we travel with them. We say, so we will come and we will ensure everything is in order and we have a good time. So honestly, yes, more than 75% of my travel has been official. When I say official, everything is paid by the organization, so I don't have to pay anything. So yes, you do get such perks in the travel industry. I'm sure 90% of all of them who are in the travel industry, especially who are in the tour operators who organize, holiday destinations, would definitely have traveled to, one or two international locations at least. And people who are fortunate like me would have traveled to almost all the places. So yeah, you definitely get to travel a lot. FOC, free of cost.
That's very true, ma'am. I've heard a lot of people is like I go on tourism industries. I've heard a lot of people took this as a motivation to join, but you have cleared that eyes. You have cleared that eyes. You have explained as to what is the person and everything in that. So, ma'am, I have Abba joined with us. Abba Singh is there with us. There are a couple of questions which our viewers and our listeners have put in. Abba, if you can just ask one or a couple of questions within the time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I'm ready to take up. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, Abha. Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you,
So,
dear.
right, ma'am. So, ma'am, the first question is asked by Pranav. He is an ex-Ajmite only. And the question is, what would you suggest as a good enough experience in the industry to decide to jump into entrepreneurship?
From my experience, I think in the present day, about 2 to 3 years experience is good enough. This 2 to 3 years experience will give you enough opportunity to explore and understand the nitty-gritties and nuances of each of the segment that is in the travel industry. Like what is the domain, what is destination, what are the soft skills, what is passport, visa, how do you go about, who is a DMC, what is MICE, what is cruise, etc. So I guess 2 to 3 years of working experience in an organization which has all these segments. You have companies which only deal with tickets, or there are companies which deal with only domestic holidays. So I'm not talking about those organizations. I'm talking about organizations like, let's say, a Thomas Cook. I am sure everybody is aware of Thomas Cook, who has all these areas. They are experts in ticketing, in passport, in visa, in domestic destinations, international destination, foreign exchange. So when you have the bouquet of services, when you have an exposure to all of these, and when you understand how each of these function, then it becomes easier to start up on your own. So either you should be an expert in all of these, or you should have you should be able to hire experts. So you have to have that kind of capability to either hire who are experts. Obviously they're going to be experienced and you have to pay them a higher salary. So either you should be an expert to start something on your own, for which I said about 2 to 3 years is good enough. Or if you want to start up immediately, then yes, you should be in a position to hire experts, and industry experts you should be able to hire, who will deliver for you, and you can sit and enjoy the benefits. So the to answer your question, it is about 2 to 3 years in an organization which handles all these areas: tickets, passport, visa, holiday destinations, etc. So you get a fair amount of exposure in each of these areas.
All right, ma'am. Thank you for making your point clear. So, coming to the next question,
Yeah.
this is again asked by Pranav. He is asking that something as an entrepreneur that you wish someone told you before you got into it.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Could you repeat it, please?
Something as an entrepreneur that you wish someone told you before you got into, this business industry of your own. An
Wow.
advice or something. Yeah.
Wow, it's a good question. Mm, Personally, I think I had such wonderful bosses and mentors who gave me adequate information and warned me enough about getting into entrepreneurship. And I did not jump in 2 3 years that I had to have some advice. So I took almost 20 years plus to get into this entrepreneurship, wherein I had gained adequate knowledge and experience, and I had great mentors and leaders who guided me, and who still continue to guide me. I can still trust them, and I can reach out to them anytime and ask for anything. So personally, I don't think I wished for anything. But the youngsters who would like to who would like to get into entrepreneurship in a very short period, yes, they need a lot of advice and a lot of warnings as well, I guess. So personally, I have not I was not in need of any such advice.
All right, ma'am. I think we can wait for 2, 3 minutes in case
Sure.
anyone is going to ask any question.
Sure. So, in the meanwhile, Vivek, I wanted to answer one more question. You were talking about this travel perks that you get in the travel industry. So, I had worked in Mahindra Holidays. So, you are aware Mahindra Holidays has their own resorts, Club Mahindra resorts across India, and a few resorts in the world. So, they have about 45 plus resorts within India. By virtue of working with Mahindra Holidays, I was heading the travel division for almost 7 8 years. I have traveled to almost every resort in India, every state that they have. 40 plus resorts I have traveled free of cost.
This is
So,
clearly a big, very big temptation for us sitting at home. This is a very big temptation for us. But our viewers, as much as the perks you told sounds very nice and very enjoyable, they should know the responsibilities also come along with it. Once you go a travel and tourism expert, they all expect the same, the kind of knowledge which we need to possess. When they say that you need to travel, you have to observe when you travel. That is what I tell a lot of people. You have to observe when you travel. You have to be very keen to attention. The minute details matter when you travel to a destination. Are you agreeing with this, ma'am?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll tell you, 25 years back when I got into the industry, I also had done this a little bit of training, and everything was manual. And there was a whole lot of process that we had to follow. There were no computers, there were no gadgets, there was no internet, there was no Google. So we had to remember the two-letter code, three-letter code, country code, city code, countries and capital states and capitals, airlines, etc. So there's a whole lot of stuff that we had memorized. We had taken efforts to learn and understand. So today, even if there is no internet, if there is no Google, we can sit and issue a ticket around the world ticket, a complicated ticket. But the current generation, where everything is moved into a digital platform, at a click of a button, you can create a PNR. At a click of a button, you can issue a ticket. Click of a button, you can figure out what is the capital, what is the two-letter code, and how do you go about to places like Europe or Australia or Japan. They still do not want to give that customer delight. They are not able to move that one little bit, stretch a little, and provide the customer delight to a client. So that's very sad, because everything is available in the fingertip, yet they don't want to go that extra mile to provide that customer satisfaction or customer delight. That is a very factor that really aches us. People from the old school of thoughts, we have gone that extra mile for the piddly salary that we used to get. We have really stretched ourselves and ensured that we were able to give the customer delight to the customer. If not exceed the expectation, at least meet the expectations. But the current generation, when everything is available literally on their fingertip, they can get every information on their mobile by googling, or just check, go log on to any app. But they are not able to willing to stretch that little extra bit to provide that customer delight and to ensure that they are able to get repeat customers. You have to keep telling them over and over again, do this, do that. They're not able to understand. That is what is lacking in the current generation: the passion, the involvement, the interest, the dedication, the commitment, which is what I'm trying to inculcate, which is very difficult. I can train them on destination, on soft skills and whatever, but certain things which are inborn, innate, you really cannot. It has to be there within you: the passion, the fire in the belly, the go-getter attitude, that has to be there, which is lacking in the current generation, the younger generation, who have everything available at literally in the tip of the finger.
So, ma'am, this was a very intriguing information, like personally to all the young viewers we have. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for the exceptionally good session. Because apart from the entrepreneurship factor, we also got to know how tourism and the entrepreneurship, because they have hand in hand. In other industry, entrepreneurship is a very big thing, but in tourism, that is how the business runs itself. So I really wish you from the thank you from the bottom of our heart and
Vivek,
team
there
who is.
are, sorry to interrupt, there are two more questions if ma'am has time.
Yeah, sure, Abba, I can take them.
Okay, all right, ma'am. So the first question is from Sanil, and he's asking, what is your opinion on becoming an entrepreneur in the same sector of tourism during pandemic? Would it be hard to cope up with?
All right. Yes, there is going to be a little bit of challenge taking up entrepreneurship during this time, but the flip side is you have to create opportunities when you're going through this tough time. There are a whole lot of new regulations that have come up for travel, and whole lot of protocols that you need to maintain. I think this is the time you can explore, and given a little time to understand, how do you create niche itineraries, how do you understand the countries that are safer, what are the protocols that people have to follow, and create those kind of destinations to start with, and how do you reach out to these clients and give them the assurance that they can go to any of these places and come back safe. So yes, I would say personally that this is the right time. In case you do not want, I mean, you are not confident about getting into any other segment and your heart is with the travel industry, I think this is the right time to venture. As I told you, it's just a matter of 3 to 6 months and the industry is going to bounce back in multifold. So this is the opportunity. So you have to move into the online platform, create your own website, create your own niche itineraries, talk to them about, create a member engagement program, try talking to them in this next 2 to 3 months, collect database as to what are the destinations that they would like to travel, how many days would they like to travel, what is their budget. So basis which you can start creating itineraries, start creating niche destinations within India, or some property, new properties that have come up within India or abroad. Tie up with these DMCs, tie up with the airline company, tie up with the properties, the hoteliers, and start creating itineraries and engaging with the members, with the customers. I think this is the best time. And the moment the borders are open, the moment the lockdown is lifted, and the restrictions are, relaxed, you can immediately target all this audience and you can take off. I think this is the best time, because you would never get, once you get into the business and it starts, you would never be able to explore these kind of aspects. So now is the time where you can, sit, think, and come up with some innovative ideas, creative ideas, and design all this whole lot of itineraries, from where you buy tickets, from where you get your idea destinations, how you can make it as cheaper and as simpler as possible and reach out to the customer. I think I personally feel this is the right time to get into entrepreneurship in the travel industry. That's my take.
All right, ma'am. All right. So the next question is from Radhakrishna Rai, and the question is: during the pandemic time, what all new ideas has the travel and tourism sector come up to promote tourism?
Okay. So there are talks almost every other day. We from the industry have been having Zoom meets with the tourism boards, with the government sector, trying to see what are the sectors that can that people can travel in India, which are safe. So as I said, there are a whole lot of protocols that we have to follow, whether you're getting into a hotel, or getting into a flight, getting into a cruise, getting into a train, etc. So we are defining all these protocols and making it simpler for the end traveler, so that it becomes much more easier and simpler, and they do not find it as a major hassle for travel. So we are simplifying all this and trying to reach out to customer, trying to talk to the hotels, to the airline, etc., to simplify these protocols and make it as easy and as hassle free for the travelers. Secondly, we are also in touch with the tourism boards across the world, and trying to tell them that here we have a whole lot of people who would like to travel, and what are your protocols. And there, today what happens, you can't just walk into any hotel across the world. So all the countries, their tourism boards have shortlisted few hotels. Only these are the hotels where the tourists can go, because of their own safety, for safety and security measures. They have shortlisted certain hotels. So we have now identified the destinations which are open to tourism, and in each of these destinations, what are the hotels that can be promoted, and how hassle free we can make the travel, and how we can ensure that these people are able to travel. So this has been going on at the back end, among the travel fraternity, in coordination with the respective governments and the tourism sectors, and we are trying to see how best we can make it easier for the customers. So you will see in the next 1 or 2 months, you will see newspaper ads and TV ads that are coming up, which will showcase what are the destinations that are free, and how hassle free it has become for you to check into a hotel, or go to the airports, or venture out these destinations. A lot of adventure activities that we are starting up in most of the destinations, like water sports in the coastal areas, adventure sports and adventure activities that are coming up in various destinations within India and abroad. So we are now identifying, okay, if you're going for honeymoon, what are the destinations we can promote post COVID? If you're going for an adventure trip, what are the destinations we can promote within India or abroad? If you're going as a family, what are the places that are safe? So we have now segmented basis which we can reach out to the customer, and the moment we know who is the what is the kind of audience, whether and for what purpose they are traveling, for how many days, we will be able to simplify their travel and make it as hassle free as possible. So this is what is happening in the travel industry during the pandemic time.
All right, ma'am. So the last question has
Yeah.
been asked by Prem, and the question is: what do the interviewers actually expect from the fresher? Any advice for us?
So you're talking about when the freshers go for an interview to the travel agencies or tour operator or airline, is I guess that's the question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So well, the first thing, of course, we, if I'm the the HR or the interviewer, we look for what the one factor, the fire in the belly. If you have the passion, the first thing is you have to have the passion, and that we know from your body language, from your confidence, from your facial expression, etc. And of course, we look forward to some basics about travel and tourism. Either you have done a travel and tourism course, or you have done these kind of certificate courses where you have a minimal exposure to travel and tourism. And certain organizations who are very keen on a long term relationship, they have multiple levels of interviews. First is, of course, a telephonic interview. Then they will ask you for a written interview, written test. And then you have a group discussion, and then you have a one-to-one interview. So what we expect is, one, of course, you have to have a good communication skill and have a very cheerful face and the passion. Secondly, a basic knowledge about travel and tourism, and be open to the training, because once they get into the organization will provide training to use a computer, a centralized reservation system or a GDS, or to create itineraries, talk to the vendors, talk to the various service providers. So we just need to understand if the person is open to these kind of trainings and how quickly he or she can adapt to these trainings. So I think after having interviewed thousands of candidates in so many years, looking at a candidate, we know we get to see that spark in them. So the moment we see the spark and a little bit of their resume, which talks about their background or their exposure to travel and tourism, either through a certification course or through their graduation, we will hire those kind of candidates. And we may ask few questions just to understand their geography, countries and capital, states and capitals, etc., just to understand how good is their geography. We're not going to decide basis that, but just to understand if they have any fair amount of idea about geography. And yeah, basis all this, we do hire people.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a lot of questions answered. With, I can see ma'am's interest and passion, because since you've been in the training industry, I can see that heart-spoken, heartfelt answers. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for the answer.
Pleasure.
I believe the end of the session. So once again, I'm so happy. We are Team OSCL is very much grateful for having you this part of the YouTube live podcast. Thank you for accepting our invitation, ma'am. So thank you very much. So hopefully we will connect you in the future for a lot of endeavors. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Vivek, and a great experience. I should thank you, and thank you, Abha and Sanal as well. So it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for this opportunity, Vivek. My pleasure.
To our viewers all around, thank you very much for watching this live session. I know you've all spent your Friday evening with us for the 40 minutes of a lot of informative sessions. So thank you very much, viewers. Have a great weekend. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.